Today we are going to look at verb endings in the present tense. Was? Look at these 4 stickers. These are the most important pronouns for you at your stage of learning. Ich, I. Du, you. And this is a friendly you to one person only. Er, sie, es. He, she, and it. And wir, we, and sie, they. Sie with a capital letter is also used to mean you in a formal situation, either to one person or a group of people. Now let's look at the endings. Ich. The ending for a regular verb, in fact most verbs, will always be an E. Du. The ending will always be ST. Er, sie, es. The ending will always be a T. So for one person over there, or using someone's name like Mark or Suzanne, you would use a T. And finally, for both wir and sie, the verb ending is en. So those are your verb endings. E for ich, st for du, t for er, sie and es, and finally en for wir. Often when you find a verb in a dictionary, you won't find it with already having an ending on. That's for you to do. I'm going to show you how to do this. This is an infinitive. All verbs in dictionaries are presented in infinitive form, and this infinitive means to do. The first thing I have to do is take off the en. I am then left with the stem of my verb. I then take my stem. They've magically appeared here. I then need to add the endings that we just looked at. So to say I do, you're going to say ich mache. To say you do, it's going to be du machst. He, she or it does, er, sie oder es macht, and we do, wir machen. Let's have a look at another verb. So, remember, we've got to get this down to its stem to begin with. So, we remove the flower, we remove the en, and we are left with the stem. Now, remember the endings, ich, I, du, st, er, sie, es, t, wir, and sie, en. I can now say very easily, I visit, ich besuche, you visit, du besuchst, he or she or it visits, er besucht, and they visit, sie besuchen. Sometimes identifying what verb ending you need is a little bit more difficult. Let's take another verb. The verb we'll take this time will be spielen, which is to play. And I have to think to myself, Mark. What would I say instead of Mark? Which pronoun would I use? Well, of course, I would use er. So, I take my verb spielen, I take off the en, and I'm left with my stem. And I already know that the verb ending for Mark is a T. So Mark plays will be Mark spielt. Again, Suzanne and Mike. What pronoun would I use instead of Suzanne and Mike? Well, I would use they. So, again, I put my stem down, spiel, and I think of the ending for my verb, and it will be en. Susanne und Mark spielen. Do. Well, as we know, st is the ending that goes with do. If I want to say, do you play, or do you do, or do you visit, I have to put the verb first because do you doesn't exist in German. So all I have to do is write spiel with the correct ending to make it into a question. Spielst du Tennis? Do you visit friends? Besuchst du Freunde? And finally, do you do your homework? Machst du deine Hausaufgaben? Das war nicht so schlecht. That wasn't too bad, was it? So, how would you say, I paint? For this, you need the infinitive, malen. So, remove the stem, and you're left with mal. Write ich, mal, and then the correct ending. How would you say, he cooks? Again, remove the stem. Write koch, and then a T on the end, as that is the correct ending. Mrs. Whaley and Mrs. Noble listen. Remove the ending, en, and you're left with the stem. Madame Noble und Madame Whaley, her, and then, of course, it is the pronoun sie I would use, meaning they, and the ending is en. If you got those endings as well, well done. Ich höre, ich spiele, ich lerne, ich habe, ich besuche. And of course, ich bin, which is an exception to the rule. We're going to meet another exception shortly, which is ich mag, which means I like. Du spielst, du machst. Was machst du in deiner Freizeit? Du gehst, du hörst. Of course, du bist. Sie, es, ist, or indeed another pronoun like a name, like Dieter or Gabi. Hat, sie ist. Es hört. Gabi macht. Stefan tanzt. Frau Noble trinkt. And of course, wir oder sie, we or they. All of them end with en. Machen, spielen, hören, tanzen, gehen. Hast du es verstanden? Hopefully you've got it. If you haven't, go back and watch this video again. Maybe take some notes, particularly if you don't feel confident that you'll be able to apply the rules when you're actually writing or speaking in German. Tschüss!